You can't see her, but
Oh, you can turn off yes?
yeah.
Oh.
California.
Okay, okay. Another? No.
Somewhere sunny. Where we're not.
Central.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right, Morgan.
Well, ladies, thank you for joining today, coming to our nutrition and wellness course. So today we're going to go over a few different things on the what's, whys, and hows of nutrition. What is nutrition? Food is fuel, navigating supplements and labels, nutrition goal setting, and making the meal. So when it comes to meal prepping, and I actually have brought a few of my favorite recipes for samples. So I know you didn't know that you get to eat today. So a little bit about me. So there's not a day, month, or year that I can pinpoint where my fitness journey began, but I can pinpoint is when I began focusing on my weight and my food choices. My nutrition journey began when I was about 12 years old. And I use the word nutrition lightly. I was eating some cookie dough when my mom looked me straight in the eyes and said, "It's not going to be my fault if you don't fit into your graduation dress." That is still instilled in my head. That's when I started focusing on calorie counting, started struggling with eating disorders, etc. So I battled bulimia, anorexia, yo-yo dieting, and looking at food as the enemy. But finally, after almost 20 years of struggle, I found a healthy relationship with food and nutrition, and it's my goal to help others, just like you guys, understand how you can not only use food to get the body you want, but the life you want as well. AKA, food is fuel. In January 2020, I met my husband, Chris. We decided very quickly that we wanted to start a family. So I spent the next year getting into the best shape of my life. When I became pregnant in August of 2021, I knew I wanted to stay healthy throughout the pregnancy. Having such a healthy relationship with food helped me do that. The knowledge of what food can help the baby grow, help my energy, and also keep me active was very important. So the vitamins, the minerals that I needed to eat, the fact that I had to eat more than I normally was eating. I'm not gonna lie, it was a struggle mentally. And if you've ever struggled with food, there's always going to be that little voice in the back of your head. But having the education that I've gotten and just reminding myself, food is fuel. It's here to help me energize not only myself, but help my baby grow. That helped me continue with a healthy pregnancy. I had my baby boy in May of 2022. First year of motherhood, much like marriage, is the most challenging. My body had completely changed, and it is still supporting the life of another. 9 months in, I'm currently still breastfeeding, so I have to be aware of what nutrients I'm putting in order to give the nutrients that he needs to him. Continuing to focus on my nutrition and watching what I eat, maintaining a schedule and using food as fuel has not only helped keep the chaos of motherhood manageable. I mean, as a mom, you can only manage the chaos so much. But I've also been able to successfully fuel my baby boy for 9 months while losing weight I gained during pregnancy. During my technically 10 months, because pregnancy, let's be honest, it's 10 months. He was about 5 days late. During my entire pregnancy, I gained 30 pounds. I started at 152 and ended at 183. And I am 9 months postpartum next week, and I am down to 148.
Oh, good.
Nutrition and fitness. So that was a little bit about me. Okay. So the next part, what is nutrition? There are so many things out there, so many descriptions of nutrition. People just think, oh, it's dieting. No. Nutrition is the process of providing or obtaining the food, nutrients necessary for health and growth. So what nutrients do we need for health and growth? We need macronutrients, which are the nutrients that you need the most abundance of in your body. Your fats, your carbohydrates, and your proteins. Micronutrients which are minerals and vitamins. So things like vitamin B6 for extra energy, iron, calcium, all those little smaller things that are still necessary for your body to function. Hydration, aka water, because our bodies are around 70% water. So you have to make sure you're maintaining that for your body to function. And supplements, dietary and performance. There's lots of different supplements out there. I'm not going to go too much into them, but kind of talk about my experience with supplements and how they can help you with your nutrition. All right, so first up, we have macronutrients. So macronutrients are the nutrients the body requires in the largest amount. They are the components of food that our bodies need to maintain energy levels. So you have your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. Daily recommendations for each of those, 20 to 25% of your daily caloric intake should be from protein. 45 to 65% should be from carbohydrates. And 20 to 35% should be from fats. Now you guys are probably looking at the carbohydrate one and being like, I'm sorry, aren't carbs bad?
Yeah.
They are not bad. There are bad carbs, just like there are some bad fats. And when I say bad carbs, bad fats, less beneficial. We'll rephrase it like that. Okay. So we then have micronutrients. These are divided up into two different categories. You have water soluble and you have fat soluble vitamins. So water soluble vitamins are vitamins that can dissolve in water. Many water soluble vitamins are essential, which means they must be consumed through nutrition or supplementation, aka the body doesn't produce it on its own. Okay. Water soluble vitamins are B12, vitamin C, B1, folic acid, vitamin B6, biotin, and vitamin B5.
Biotin makes your hair grow.
Yep. Don't worry. We're going to go into each of them a little bit in detail about like what they do for your body and why they're beneficial. Fat soluble vitamins, vitamins that can dissolve in fats and oil. They can be stored in bodily tissues, but for true absorption, they must be combined with dietary fats. In other words, you need to eat fat in order to properly dissolve fat soluble vitamins, aka eat food with your vitamins. These vitamins are vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin E, and vitamin D. Okay. Now, why does all of this matter? Okay, there are so many whys to having a balanced and healthy diet. Beyond aiding in weight loss and body composition, eating healthy can help you maintain energy levels throughout the day, a more positive mindset for the day, higher self-efficacy, more efficient body functions, a more clear and conscious mindset, and higher self-esteem. Have you guys ever had a day where your nutrition is not on point, you're not hydrated, and you just feel like none of this is going right?
Yes.
And then the next day, if you actually start drinking water right away and you're eating your 3 to 6 meals, whatever you choose to do, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't need any pre-workout. I'm on top of the world. Especially while I was pregnant, my biggest downfall was hydration. And there was about 5 days in the first trimester that I didn't poop for 5 days. And it was because I was drinking what I thought was the normal amount of water. And then I upped that water after those 5 days. Felt amazing. So little things like that. Your body will only function properly if you give it the proper fuels. Okay. Food is fuel. I love that saying. Your body is a complex machine that needs to be well oiled, lubricated, and have consistent maintenance. Just like a car, if you don't pay attention to your check engine light, well, something's going to give out. The food we eat affects all of our different structures and functions. This is why it is important that we are putting the right fuel into our body. You wouldn't put regular gas into a premium vehicle, right? Well, it'll work, but just not like it should. Same with food. Grabbing some fast food might seem like a convenient choice, but it's not going to support your daily functions like a well-rounded meal would. The next few slides, we'll dive into macronutrients, eating windows, and hydration, and how they all play a part in properly functioning you. Proteins, all right? When we think proteins, we think muscle, because that is the macronutrient that really helps us build muscle, replenish muscle, all that good stuff. All right, did you know that protein is the second most abundant molecule in our body next to water? Learning something new every day. This essential molecule is responsible for almost all bodily functions, which is why it is so important we are consuming enough protein in our daily diets. The science behind protein function is quite extensive, but long story short, proteins are made up of amino acids, either non-essential, made within the body, or essential, needing to be obtained through diet. The amino acids are broken down during digestion and combined to form new synthesized molecule forms, lean tissue, aka okay. Protein function. So protein and amino acids are responsible for cell structure and to form enzymes. In other words, they are how our cells transmit information to one another, such as hormone levels, pH balance, and fluid balance. Proper protein intake can also help fight off illness. White blood cells use protein to fight off infection. So the more functional protein you consume, the more power your white blood cells will have to fight off any sickness you may encounter. Okay, so just like protein helps build our muscle, it's going to keep your cells intact. And if you're not consuming enough protein, your body will literally just kind of give out, and you'll just look all pale and gross and not fun.
I have a question, Morgan. What does
Yes.
that mean during weight loss? Like, how important is that for protein during weight loss? Because I think there's a lot of people that are like, I have to cut everything if I want to lose weight because
Yeah.
I'm trying to cut weight. So explain that a little bit.
So while you want to, if you're ever trying to lose weight, calorie deficit is the most important thing. But you don't want to have a macronutrient deficit. So in the slide earlier, how we were talking about 20 to 25% protein, 45 to 65% carbs, and 20 to 35% fat. Same thing goes for if your diet goes from 2,500 calories a day to 1,500 calories a day. So now you need to figure out of those 1,500 calories, what your protein intake is going to be. So you don't want to just decrease protein altogether. You want to keep it in relation to how many calories you're having. Because if you don't eat enough protein, yeah, you might lose weight. You're also going to lose muscle. You're going to start losing bone structure, breaking bones, can't lift as much. Just going to.
That's what happened to me.
Yep, exactly. And I've got a couple of my clients in here, and they can attest to, yeah, you lost body fat, but you also lost muscle at the same time. So, but yeah, that's how protein works. Now on to carbohydrates, the evil one, or so we think. Carbohydrates are the body's main source of energy. Without carbs, the body is unable to synthesize glucose properly and will not function at optimal levels. There are two types of carbohydrates that are important to remember: starches and sugars. Your starches are your grains, corn, rice, barley, vegetables, beans, and wheat. Your sugars are your sweets, like candy, chocolate, all that stuff. Cane sugar, fruit, and milk. Yes.
Milk has a lot of sugar in it.
Oh,
And hormones.
That's why you got to be careful about the milk that you choose, or at least the amount that you have. The primary role of carbohydrates is to provide energy for the body. Any excess carbohydrates left over after energy use is then stored in muscle tissue and the liver. Well, what happens to the leftover carbs in my body? Your liver can release glucose, which is the storage form of carbohydrates, to the body. Excess carbohydrates can help regulate blood sugar levels and insulin metabolism. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that you have some leftover carbohydrates and glucose in your system. When the body has adequate levels of carbs, it prevents the body from catabolizing, breaking down muscle tissue. Your brain also requires glucose to function. If there's not enough provided from your diet, it will find glucose sources from other areas. Pretty much your body will eat itself. I actually have a really great story about lack of carbohydrates. So when I was in high school, my senior year was probably the worst year of my anorexia and bulimia. I am 5'2.5", currently weighing at 148. When I was a senior in high school and we went on our spring break trip as a family, I was 90 pounds. We went up to Canada for a few days. I do not remember the trip because I slept so much almost the entire time because my body did not have the energy to function. So that's why, one, it's very important to start eating carbohydrates in the morning, but continue to eat them throughout the day because that is your main energy source. And if any of you guys are working out, you got to up that as well. So carbs are not bad, my friends. Carbs are friends.
What are you guys learning and hearing from this through some of the slides that she's gone through so far? Katie?
Well, just the percentage of like your daily percentage between the protein, the carbs, and the fats it makes me think of kind of how to distribute things throughout my day because I'm kind of on my own journey. So this additional information is helpful so far.
How much total weight have you lost now?
100.
Woo!
Yeah.
I love it. How long has it taken you to do that?
I've been well, the time that I did it, it was within the course of the majority was 1.5 years, but
Okay.
within 2 years. But this past year, I've kind of been backtracking a little bit. I'm still in the same weight from that I've kind of been at, but I want to continue to go down in a healthier way.
Mm-hmm.
Learn some additional pieces that will be more beneficial for my next journey. And so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Sylvia, what are you hearing?
Carbs are good.
I'm loving your facial expression when we're going through this.
So when I did the macros in the app that I use,
Mhm.
it gave me the right protein numbers and fats, but the carbs were more than protein.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking,
You're like, this can't be right,
so I
but it is.
moved it, but ugh. So it's triggering because it's okay, hold on, I can't eat this.
Mhm.
So yeah, but it's I'll learn.
Especially for us women. From a
Yeah.
young age, a lot of us are told like, don't eat these fats, don't eat these carbs. This is bad. You have to restrict this, salads all the time. And it's like, no, you actually need food.
Yeah.
What about you, Lizzie?
Mine is the macronutrient deficit that I had no idea about because my journey, like we've been doing intermittent fasting, I would do like early morning workout, maybe do protein, maybe not, and then wait all the way until 1. And I had some success with it early on, but then I felt like I had a plateau,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I just felt like, well, I'm not eating enough. So my body's just, what happens like when your metabolism, I guess, slows down,
Yeah.
right? So I actually saw it. Like I was like, okay, this is why I'm plateauing.
Yeah.
So now that I'm understanding the macronutrient that's kind of, I think that's the major.
Yeah.
Because I do struggle with that. Well, if I'm trying to lose weight, calories in, calories out, I'm supposed to do less. And I just couldn't understand how to balance it all out with actually having a sufficient amount enough of protein.
Yeah.
That'll enable me to keep my muscles,
Mhm.
right? But then at the same time, I'm trying to lose everything else. So my focus now is to maintain a healthy amount of muscle, build that,
Yeah.
because building muscle also like shred that, right?
Yep.
Just size wise, it's like I don't need to do that much. But in terms of just like maintaining what a healthy muscle, right?
Yeah.
protein balance would be for me. And I
Mhm.
think that macronutrient.
Yeah.
That's
What about you, Miranda?
I actually had no clue about this. You know, I've always been pretty good about, you know, to me, it's all about control and controlling what I eat. So, That's been something, I think we all are, but like when your life doesn't seem like it's manageable, the easiest thing you control is your food.
Yep.
You know, and so for me, that's always been something very easy for me to do, but I have no. So, and I can prophesy.
Yeah.
And I don't drink enough water. I'm the first one to say I try to trick myself. Because I don't like the taste of it. I know it doesn't have a taste, but that's the problem. And
I'm trying to teach him to drink water and he's the same way. He's like, this is not milk.
Yeah.
He really
Add,
is.
like, healthier things to water, but then I'm like, now it's not really water, and I know that at the end of the day. So like, why am I trying to convince myself it is when I know it's not? You know?
Yeah.
And I've even done the buy the bottles that say the time, and I set myself up for defeat every single day with those stupid times.
Oh.
Like, and I know I sound, you know, so then I bought a smaller bottle the other day, and I'm like, okay, and I'm a late nighter, so I'm like, I just don't care about the times as long as by the time I'm done. then
That's
I
true.
know
Yep.
that's water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I still look at the times and it causes me anxiety.
Mm.
And I, you know, I just am laughing and we joke, you know, all the time. I'm like, yeah, this is fun. I'm like, it's 5 o'clock and I'm at like 2.
So I know that and it's what we at for today.
Yeah, it's just the dumbest thing ever. And so like, I had a really big one and I went to a smaller one and now I just decided to send. So as long as I can hit at least half of it in a day, I'll be fine. And then the next week I'll hit 3/4. But it's just
Yeah.
you convince yourself in your brain how to, because like I said, a lot of us women, because of the way society put on ourselves,
Yeah.
we have tons of control. You have to trick your brain into controlling the things you can control and not to worry about.
Yeah.
Which is all done.
One of the things that helped me, which I don't know might help you, but like every meal that I have, because I have the problem with my water intake. So if I'm gonna just have a drink that I normally drink with a meal, like I just all the time. Like even if I don't like the taste of water, it's like I have my drink there and then I have the water.
Yeah.
Right. So
You wash down the water.
Right,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the food.
The other
Water, drink, water, food.
Yeah. I have is because I think that because of the industry I'm in, we don't have like times when it's time to eat. Like,
Yeah.
like you, because I'm a hairdresser also, and I'm a bartender. So like, I don't have that time. Like when I sit down to eat, it maybe I'm gonna eat as much stuff as I can, as
Yeah.
fast as I can.
In 30 seconds or less.
I'm not gonna have
Yeah.
water because really I just want the food.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could care less about that water because I'm starving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just, I think that's for us, for, you know, industry standard for those 2 jobs, like that's just, you
Yeah.
know, so trying to balance that out, so then.
Well, and figuring out like, I mean, I don't think anyone loves water. I love how it makes me feel. And I love that I like pee everything out because you're literally peeing the bad stuff out of your body and detoxifying it. But like just squirts here, squirts there. And then you'll be amazed, like, oh, I drank all that water. But it's like a little bit that you're just like, oh, okay, that's not that bad. Like in between clients or in between serving drinks or whatever, you just go. Make it like you're an athlete, football team. Quick, go, coach.
Becca, are you on?
Yeah, I'm here.
What are you hearing for you?
Hang on just a second.
Hanging on.
Sorry, I had to get somewhere where it was less loud. What was the question?
What are you getting for you right now from the first 30 minutes of Morgan's presentation?
That the food I put into my body is meant to fuel me instead of something that I do to use when I'm emotional or use as a crutch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
Great
use
insight.
as a reward.
Yeah, yep, or as a reward. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just felt attacked just
The nail out of your body. Come back to the end. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Bringing the pain, bringing the pain. Right, what type and how much? So we're still talking about carbs here. So the current recommended carbohydrate intake is between 45 and 65% of your total caloric intake. It is important to know that different carbs affect the body differently. For example, eating a sweet potato versus an apple. The sweet potato is a complex carbohydrate, while the apple is a simple carbohydrate, right? Does anybody off the top of their head know the difference between a complex carb and a simple carb?
Simple breaks down to sugar.
Yep. And complex carbohydrates contain more nutrients, so they take longer to digest. This means they fill you up longer. So the best example that I learned, even like before I really got into nutrition, brown rice versus white rice. Okay, think of it as it's bleached. The white rice has been bleached and stripped of all its nutrients. Why do you think we can eat 15 plates of sushi? It's just empty carbs. It's just turning into sugar. But if you have brown rice, it fills you up and it takes longer to digest because all of those packed nutrients are still in there. Just like when it comes to vegetables, fresh versus frozen, anything that's had those nutrients taken away is just gonna, as what they call empty carbs, gonna go through your body and then you're like, oh, I'm hungry again. That's why bagels are one of the worst breakfast foods, because in an hour you're like, okay, where's breakfast number 2? So that's how you can kind of think of complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates. And there's tons out there. So you just gotta kind of do a little bit of your research. You can always ask me and I can help you find the good foods. Now on to fat. All right. Yeah, you done? Sometimes he does like he loves to sneeze. Are they good for me? The answer is yes. Dietary fat is necessary for many functions within the body, such as metabolizing fat-soluble vitamins, providing heat insulation for the body, and providing energy. There are 2 types of fats, saturated fats and unsaturated fats. Well, when I say 2 types, the main 2 types, okay? Saturated fatty acids have a more complex molecule structure, making them more stable. Foods high in saturated fatty acids are solid at room temperature, aka butter. On the other end, we have unsaturated fats, which are less stable and liquid at room temperature, such as olive oil. Unsaturated fats are considered the healthier fat because there is less chance for fatty deposits in your arteries due to the fact that they stay liquid at room temperature. So they will remain liquid in your body. So a good example of this, if you go and get a cheeseburger from McDonald's that has a bunch of saturated fats, because if you let it sit there, it doesn't disintegrate, it stays solid, okay? That is going to stay solid in your body. It takes so long to process and get through everything, and it's going to fill arteries with fat deposits. But if you have something cooked in olive oil, coconut oil, that at a room temperature does not stay solid, less chance of it building up in your body. It's going to nourish your body and flow right through. So you're going to eat both types, but the healthier option is unsaturated fats. So when you hear like Mediterranean diet that has a lot of olive oils, all that kind of stuff, that's why. The best, the good, and the bad of fats, all right? So now we're diving into a little bit more of the scientific terms of the different types of fats. But we have polyunsaturated fats, monounsaturated fats, and trans fats. So your polyunsaturated and monounsaturated are part of the unsaturated fat group. Your trans fat is part of the saturated fats. So poly is things like sunflower seeds, flax oil, salmon oil, walnuts, and soybeans. These are considered the best fatty acid and can even reduce one's chance for cardiovascular disease. Monounsaturated fats are things like olive oil, avocados, cashews, almonds, and nut butter. These are also good for heart health. And then we have our trans fats, things like vegetable shortening, margarine, fried foods, baked goods, and French fries. These are foods that have forced oil and hydrogen mixing together, and they become thicker and can cause artery clogging. Oil and water don't mix. So it's not going to mix well in your body. So these are the types of foods that you really want to limit. Any questions on these? Yes.
So could you go a little bit more into kind of the controversy between like seed oils and like, yes, like vegetable oils or like oils like, I guess like olive oil, avocado, just because I hear that with seed oils, you can't naturally don't produce actual oils. So they have to be like made with a lot of other things that are probably not healthy for us, like vegetable oil or sunflower, because they're not naturally
Yeah.
versus like olive oil that has a natural oil, avocado that has a natural oil. So I just wonder if that makes a huge difference in terms of the usage. Like if you're just cooking all in seed oils, is that all bad? If you're cooking all in olive oil, is it all bad? Because I just tend to naturally gravitate towards olive oil just because of how it cooks the food.
Yep.
Better for me. But, you know, I didn't know if there was like.
I typically cook with olive oil or avocado oil. The saying too much of a good thing is still a bad thing.
Right. Yeah.
So the more variety you have of anything good is always better. And so too much olive oil is still too much olive oil. You know, sunflower, flax oil, salmon oil, it might not be as good as olive oil, but only because it's not as good in certain ways. Because salmon has vitamin E. So it's like if you really want to focus on your vitamin E, salmon oil. If you really just want to focus on overall like heart health and cooking with better things instead of having margarine cooking, vegetable oil, olive oil, avocado oil. So it's really dependent on your nutrition and your goals. But they're not bad. Any other questions?
You're telling me that fried foods aren't good for the body?
No.
The Dick's driving at midnight is not good for the body.
I mean, it might be good for your soul in the moment, but it's not good for the body later on.
Got it.
Sometimes it's good at that time, so.
Mistakes.
Yeah, right.
Mistakes were made last night.
I mean, but that's the other thing that I try to tell all my clients, you know, you want to have, I hate the word cheat meal because it's like, I'm not cheating. I'm just allowing myself a little extra wiggle room. So yeah, once in a while, but just knowing this information now of like, all right, well, this is what it's going to do to my body if I keep eating this all the time. Eating one donut is not going to clog your arteries. Eating a donut every single morning for a year.
How many is the limit for a day?
I'm still going to say one.
Okay.
Rebecca,
There's some science and some correlation between like if we were to have a not a cheat meal, but right. And like going to exercise right after or going to exercise the next day. Because do you have that angst of like, oh, if I'm eating something I'm not supposed to, like I just can't wait to work out because I know that working out will get all like it'll break.
You cannot outwork a bad diet.
Okay.
And even if it's one meal, and it's kind of the same way as like what we were saying earlier, like food as a reward, exercise as punishment. It's where you have to rethink. Just because you had McDonald's Happy Meal for dinner, the next day you shouldn't work out twice as hard. It's not going to undo the fact that you put saturated fats in your body. It might burn the calories that you ate. It might make you mentally feel better. It's still went in your body. It's still going to leave whatever deposits in your body that it's going to.
So knowing that is going to change.
Exactly.
Do it with an open mind of doing this.
Yeah.
No, then I can still continue for the rest of the week and the rest of the
And
month.
it's all about that balance, you know? It's okay to shake things up a little bit as long as 80% of the time you're eating really healthy.
Yeah.
Because you can't deprive yourself of everything that you actually like, because psychologically, like, your body will crave
You
it
will snap.
and you will cave in. Like, I have learned through just liking healthier foods that if I want a donut or something, I can have one. I can't, like Morgan said, can't have one every day, or I should not have 6, which is fine. But it's moderation, right? Just a little bit at a time, or like you said, use it as if you're using it as a reward, like, okay, I did really good, I hit all my goals for the week, and now I'm going to go out and have a small ice cream cone, not an
Yeah.
extra large.
You're not
ice cream
gonna,
cone.
like,
It's about
binge
self-control. Yeah.
These are like moments where you're not, like when you were injured, are you more, were you more mindful of your food intake? Did
No.
it matter? Okay.
On Halloween, I ate an entire bag of Halloween candy and I felt really guilty, so I ate 3 more over the course of 4 weeks.
Already feel guilty for what you're doing, and then you just
Yeah.
try doing it.
You're like, well, I've already ripped this Band-Aid off.
It's not house anymore, and then it's done.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. And but then, like, the problem when I broke my leg is that they not problem, but the difference between my leg surgery and my foot surgery is I went to PT. So they made me do PT 3-4 times a week. So I had to work out and get stronger. When I had my foot surgery, they're like, just sit and wait this one out. And so I probably ate the exact same when I was out on my first sleep for 9 months, but I gained more weight in the 2.5 months that I was out because I wasn't moving my body, because my lifestyle had changed. And then I felt worse about myself, and then was like, this is the biggest difference, is they had me work out. You have to give yourself some grace, but now it's actually harder to get everything under self-control, my self-control and everything else under control now, because I spent 3 months just not giving an F, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So there is something to being mindful all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lifestyle, not just like, I was like, oh, I'm only home for 2 months. Yeah, 17 pounds later, like, only home for 2 months, but I blame Halloween and my practice for that. But then also, like, my husband and I like to go out to dinner. So we need to also be more mindful. Yes, we go to good places. Yes, we go to good places. Yes, we eat quality food, but if we have a glass of wine or a drink, like, alcohol blocks all of your body from getting the nutrients that you need, because it's like, oh, there's a toxin in me now. So you won't process anything because there is a toxin in your body first. So you can eat whatever you want. But if you accompany that with drinking, your body's not absorbing nutrients and you're poisoning it.
Isn't it that, like, with the alcohol, it's inflammatory for your body? And
Yes.
so that's why you pee so much, because it's like trying to get it out. So you're bloated and I learned that one.
And there like, it might sound weird, but there are nutrients in alcohol. And so especially if you're drinking the alcohol before you're eating nutrient rich food, your body's going to try to take those nutrients from the alcohol, but they're not good nutrients. And then it's like, oh, we have to get this out. And then whatever you eat later on, just like earlier when it says any leftover carbs just kind of sit in your body, all those nutrients from that food, your body's already done so much work trying to process the alcohol through your liver and out of your body. It's not processing the food. That's why people get fat with drinking. It's not the calories from the alcohol. It's actually the calories from the food you eat while consuming the alcohol or after consuming the alcohol.
Hence why people want greasy food when they're hungover, because that makes their body
it's still in their body.
And so greasy food tends to calm people that are hungover, because your body is in such a deficit. Or how many times have you seen somebody that has been drinking heavily? It's like, let's go get a salad. Like, it's never.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do when I come home drunk from the bar. I'm gonna have some carrots and celery and ranch.
Yeah. So people seek out those super fatty foods because the body is telling them, like, oh, we're depleted, we need to protect it. And fat is the easiest way to be able to protect cells and everything like that. That's why people, like, hide underneath their weight, is because it is surrounding them. Same concept in a cell.
So that's a little bit about alcohol.
Yeah.
I know.
I did it.
But again, everything in moderation. When it comes to alcohol, since we're kind of on that topic. So if you're thinking about kind of like macronutrients deficit when you have a calorie deficit. So if you bring your calories down to 1500, you still want to have those percentages. If you like to have a glass or two of wine, you just need to account for that in your daily calories and adjust that with all of your other macronutrients, and you will still be able to somewhat stay on track. It's when everyone's like, oh yeah, I hit my 1500 calories and then I had 3 glasses of wine. So that's another 1500 calories.
So we have to count liquid too.
Yeah. Unless it's water. All right, so how much fat? Fat is much denser than carbohydrates and proteins. This energy dense macronutrient has 9 calories per gram. Proteins and carbohydrates only have 4. So that's why everyone's like, fat is bad. Fat is not bad. It's just more dense. So you don't need to have as much of it for it to do good in your body. So the daily intake recommendation is much less, with current daily intake being only 20 to 35% of your total caloric intake. So your main fats should come from monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, and 10% or less from trans fats. All right, so 1 donut a day.
One. My limit is 1.
1 donut a day. Okay.
I like to push the limits.
Yeah. She's like, 2.5.
10.5.
It's like 1 donut. Like, okay.
A donut plus a donut hole.
Yeah.
There's always
Yeah, I know. The type of donut also matters. So now we get into what is called nutrient timing. So I actually had a little bit of this conversation with Sylvia recently. So this is all about when to eat to fuel your body properly. So nutrient timing, the temporal positioning of nutrients throughout the day and or relative to exercise bouts in order to maximize performance or improve body composition. So I don't know if you've ever known an athlete or been an athlete and you're like, carbo load the night before. There is science behind that, you know, having more carbs right before workout or eating a bunch of protein after workout. It does matter when you time things out. So with your carbs, as they're the main fuel source for the body, the more you intake, the more energy you will have. And the primary organ that uses carbs is your brain. Your brain uses 20% of glucose-derived energy. So if you want to be mentally productive throughout the day, eat more carbs. It will go to use. Your proteins. Protein is made up of amino acids that are the building blocks of cells in the body. Depending on how active you are, depends on how much protein you need. An active individual should be consuming between 1.6 and 1.8 kilograms per kilogram of body weight per day. Okay. And then your fats. Fats are the most nutrient dense macro and creates a feeling of fullness much longer and also helps with long duration energy expenditures. So if you are looking at running a marathon, the more fat you have prior to that marathon, the longer you will be able to run. Because it is the most dense nutrient, it is going to last the longest in your body. Okay. There is a lot of controversy and different techniques when it comes to protein timing. The most beneficial to adequate protein consumption throughout the day in reference to maintaining your muscle, replenishing your muscle, is evening out your protein intake throughout the day. So if you have 4 meals a day, have protein each meal. Don't be like, I'm going to put like 3/4 of my protein after my workout, and then only a little bit here. You have to even it out throughout the day so that your body can properly use it throughout the day. If you're intermittent fasting, whatever your window is, even it out throughout your meals in that window. So that's what you kind of want to think about. So kind of the math, a little equation that I have for you. So we're in America, we don't really use the metric system. So I'm helping you out, got you covered. So 1 pound of fat is equal to 0.453 kilograms. So
What was that?
0.453. So if you're trying to figure out how much protein you should be having per day, right? You will multiply your weight by 0.53. So if I am 148 pounds, I multiply that by 0.453, that equals 67 kilograms. I will then multiply that by my recommended protein. Now, this depends on how active you are. I know you two, I would recommend as a nutrition person, 1.8 to 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. Okay. So for me, I did 2 grams. So 67 kilograms times 2.0 grams of protein per kilogram. I should be eating 134 grams of protein a day. Are you standing a lot during the day? Using your
Yeah.
arms and
Yeah, no, I work from home right now, but
Okay.
I would like to actually become more active like I was, so. For people that are not already active, what would you suggest?
no less than 1.2. The bare minimum is 0.8. That's for Shadow.
I'm calculating
Yes. So if you want to do your math real quick,
80.4. Okay.
80.4.
Mhm.
So you guys can see, like, there's a big
Okay.
difference between
Yeah.
1.2 and 2.20. What is the downfall of somebody who was less active did 2.0? Is there a downfall?
not when it comes to protein necessarily. You might not poop as much.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have that much more protein and you're not super active, you're gonna have to just overcompensate with water consumption.
To help it break down. or
Yeah.
like faster,
Yep. Kind of like with everything else, if you're not as active and you're eating more than you should, flush it out, water, or just be more active. That's a whole nother seminar called exercise. And it's right down the street. Exactly. So, any questions on this little part? Did you guys figure out your numbers for what you should be having daily, protein wise?
Yeah, take a minute and do that so you guys can get a real clear picture of what that looks like specifically for you.
When I hear proteins, all I hear is I only can get it in the form of meats. I know that's not true.
It's not true.
It was just because normally when I lose my food, I think of like protein
Yeah.
source, the main
Yeah.
protein
Yeah.
source. for
Yeah.
me. So I think being more knowledgeable about what protein, like outside of meats would be
Mhm.
useful.
Meats, dairy, eggs,
So
Things.
yep,
Oh, okay.
beans have protein.
Yeah.
A lot of foods that fall into a different macronutrient, they overlap. Carbs have protein, proteins have carbs. So there's protein you can find almost anywhere. The easiest way to get extra protein shakes, protein smoothies,
Yeah.
Okay.
to add that little extra.
Brands that you recommend?
I do. I actually am going to make you guys a protein shake.
Oh.
I have food for you guys.
You
Don't
brought
you
food.
worry.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, should be a talk off. I'm just kidding.
Well, now we're driving back, so I'm not doing Top Golf anymore, but
She's like wishing I was there eating food. But it's kind of trial and error when it comes to types of protein powders or drinks, just like preference for food. You kind of got to try some and figure out what you like.
When I was
You
doing
guys-
paleo, there was, I don't even remember what it was, but it was in order to get enough protein because it was based off of that. So, and that was a while ago when I did that. And I was like, wow, I'm never gonna eat as much protein as it says I'm gonna be having to eat right now. It was so much.
Yeah.
It was so much protein. I mean, it was beneficial, but it wasn't sustainable in how I was doing it.
Yeah. Yep. And it's, you know, if it's easier for you to cook all of your protein, then you're just going to be eating a lot of meat. But if it's easier for you to drink your protein, then just find fun ways to drink your protein.
Somebody when I was in Florida, he's getting ready to break a world record. He's gonna run 5,000 miles and take him 160 days to go from one coast to the next. And we talked about protein intake just a couple days ago, and he said, do you know the fastest way to have caffeine and protein at the same time is I take black coffee and I put protein powder in it
Yep.
and then blend it. And he goes, I have a cold drink that cools me down after the gym. I get the coffee, black coffee, so I get that coffee taste and the caffeine or whatever from it, plus it's protein rich.
Yeah.
And so I like the Premier One protein drinks, the coffee ones, because of that same reason. He just uses the powder in black coffee and blends it so that he can get both. And he says if he feels like he's crashing, instead of taking an energy drink that's not good for him, what he'll do is make another one of those.
Yep.
And so he's getting protein in that way, and then eats bars and then takes other supplements and has other protein shakes throughout the day. Cause I mean, the man can eat 12 to 14 eggs at a time, but that's, you know, like with the cost of eggs, it's not sustainable. So that's what
And your stomach can only take so many eggs.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever watched the show The Ranch on Netflix? I don't know if you ever noticed that Ashton Kutcher would always put protein powder in his coffee because he was going to work on the farm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Caffeine, protein, fuel your body, double whammy.
Huh.
I've done the same thing with cereal. Whatever
Really?
cereal, instead of just milk, do the vanilla Premier protein.
Mhm.
I was gonna say, so is that your guys' recommendation is the Premier, like as far as proteins go, or like do you have actual like protein powders and stuff? that you-
I have protein powder as well, but I use both because it's all about what is convenient for me that day. So if I am at home for the day or part of the day and I can just make a shake, and it also depends on the flavor that I'm making.
Yeah.
I typically do like chocolate powder protein and vanilla liquid protein. I
Mhm.
don't know why. I just have always done that. So
See, for me, with the protein shakes, I can do them, but then there's always that little voice in the back of my head. It's like, these can't taste good. They can't be sweet. They can't be sugary.
oh, I'm about to blow your mind, Sylvia.
Because then it's like,
Well, this isn't healthy. If
Yeah.
it's good. It took it to
Yeah, because I'm vegan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good food for you can taste good. It's okay.
Do you sort of balance out the days that you're not working out to maybe eat less protein versus days where you are working out?
So kind of like the mind trick that I like to do is on days that I work out, I consider that my extra day. I get to eat more carbs. I get to eat more proteins. On the days that I don't work out, it's a normal day.
Got it.
So instead of
Okay.
having the mindset of I'm not working out, so I'm restricting myself, I'm exercising, I get to have a little bit more because I need to fuel my body a little bit more. So that's my positive outlook on eating. It's taken me 20 years to get there, but I got it. A little bit more about nutrient timing. Nutrient timing equals nutrient purpose. So when thinking about nutrient timing, it really does depend on what your goals are for your lifestyle. Is your nutrition supporting your fitness goals, or are you focusing on maintaining energy throughout the day for work? No matter what your goals, you can use when you eat, what to help play a functional role in providing the right amount of energy for your day. So time it takes to digest, AKA leave the gut, AKA how long you're going to feel full, how much energy you're going to have. Carbs take about 1 to 2 hours to process through your body. Proteins, about 3 to 4 hours, and fats up to 6 hours. Okay, so the longer it takes for nutrients to digest, longer you will feel satisfied. Also provides you longer energy. So if you're needing a little bit of energy right before a workout, have some carbs. Get a higher carb protein bar or piece of toast with some peanut butter. Your proteins last for a little bit longer. So that's where you can have proteins during your workout or again, right before your workout. Fats last the longest. Kind of like when I was saying earlier for a marathon, you want to have some more fats because it's going to let you go a little bit longer. If you ever look at the nutrition labels on like pre-workouts, amino acids, BCAAs, those little like energy gummies, they have carbs, proteins, and fats relative to when they say you should eat them. Yes.
So Emily and I have a 10K coming up. We're doing the hot chocolate run.
Ooh.
So that run is, I think it starts around 7. So how would you advise that we properly fuel ourselves before?
So the night before, you want to have a very good dinner.
Okay.
Something that will obviously not like super, super heavy and like weigh you down. But when I was on a swim team when I was in middle school, and we would always have pasta the night before meet. Like a good pasta meal. Because the carbs, that leftover energy helped you the next morning for the meat. That morning, 1 to 3 hours before. So yeah, you're gonna have to get up a little bit earlier. Breakfast that has good carbs, good protein, and good fats.
So
I would put heavier protein and fats in that one. And then you want to have snacks during the run, drinks during the run. Amino acids have good carbs and proteins that will help replenish you and give you a little bit more energy. So if you're like kind of feeling like halfway through, you're like, oh man, I'm losing steam. That's when you take those extra supplements.
Okay. Did I infuse it in the water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Other questions on it? Connor, do you have any questions, buddy?
No, he's like, I might fall asleep, I might not.
Yeah, he's like, I don't.
He's like, I'm fighting it.
He's like, he fights it all the time these days. But at least he fights it during the day and not as much as night. So now we are on to micronutrients and supplementation. So we've talked a lot about the macronutrients. Now the micronutrients, the little things are just as important for our body. Micronutrients are necessary for the body to maintain proper metabolic processes. Blah, blah, blah. And just like macronutrients, they are essential for our body to function. But just as their name states, micronutrients are needed in much smaller amounts than macronutrients. So a great analogy to think of. Gasoline is to a car as macronutrients are to a human body. Just like oil is to a car, micronutrients are to the body. So gasoline is the main thing that gets the car going. Macros are the main thing that get our body going. Oil is that smaller component that if you don't keep up with it, the body's still going to cave. Micronutrients. If you're not getting your proper vitamins and minerals, your body's not going to function properly. So this is the micronutrients list. Our water soluble, we have choline, vitamin C, folic acid, also known as folate, B12, B7, B6, B5, 3, B2, and B1. Okay. Put like the scientific reasons as well. Foods of these micronutrients can be found in. Choline is in organ meats, so liver, egg yolks, oysters, and cauliflower. Vitamin C is in bright colored fruits, dark leafy greens, and bell peppers. Folic acid, lean meats, grains, poultry, legumes, and soy products. Vitamin B12 can be found in fish, shellfish, dairy, and beef. B7, which is biotin, good for the hair,
Good for the hair, skin, and
the
nails.
skin, and the nails. Right, this can be found in organ meats, dairy, nuts, and seeds. Vitamin B6, grains, dairy, organ meats, bananas, and nuts. We have B5, can be found in beef, fish, chicken, lentils, and seeds. B3, beef, pork, salmon, milk, eggs, peanuts, avocados. B2, meats, mushroom, milk, eggs, and avocados. And B1 can be found in beef, pork, salmon, enriched grains, and flaxseed. So if you notice, a lot of these vitamins overlap in the foods that they can be found in. If you eat a well-rounded diet and you have a variety of foods, you will also have a well-rounded variety of micronutrients and macronutrients in your body. So all of these water-soluble vitamins, you guys are probably like, what the heck do these do for my body? I will tell you what benefits they have. So choline, it aids in providing structure for cell membranes and production of neurotransmitters. Deficiency in choline can lead to organ dysfunction and muscle tissue damage. Vitamin C maintains antioxidant system, minimizing disease risk and even treating the common cold. We've all heard that one before.
It's emergency. That's why that's such a
Yep.
popular product, is because it's so high in vitamin C that it helps get your immune system back to where it can actually fight off what is going on in your body.
Exactly. Deficiency in vitamin C can lead to scurvy, which is a skin disease, and other skin issues.
Not just for pirates.
Folic acid is vital for red and white blood cell production, as well as DNA cell reproduction. You hear folic acid a lot when it comes to pregnant women. They need extra folate, extra folic acid. Yeah, we need it too. We're still reproducing our white and red blood cells. Our DNA is still synthesizing, replicating itself. B12 is like folic acid. It's involved with red blood cell production and DNA synthesis and neurological function. You want to be smart, take B12. B7 is responsible for carbon dioxide molecules and metabolism of carbs, fatty acids, cholesterol, and amino acids. B6 is involved in the breakdown of glycogen into glucose, which is necessary for cell respiration. B5, B3, and B2 are all involved in the metabolism of proteins, carbs, and fatty acids. So these are the vitamins that help break down all the food that you're eating. Okay. B1 is critical for metabolism of sugars, amino acids, and they're found in high levels in skeletal muscle. All right. So those are all the water soluble. The fat soluble is a lot shorter of a list. We got more. We have vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. So vitamin A is critical for vision, immune function, and human development. It can be found in fish and fish oils, butter, eggs, and some cheeses. Vitamin D plays a big role in bone formation, calcium metabolism, and immune function. Can be found in fish, fish oils, milk, and shiitake mushrooms. Super random, but hey, you like shiitake mushrooms, it can give you a good amount of vitamin D. Vitamin E is one of the main antioxidant molecules in the body and protects cells from oxidative damage. Primarily in nuts and seeds, salmon, avocados, and butter. And then we have vitamin K, which regulates blood homeostasis by controlling clotting. Also works with vitamin D in bone remodeling. So these can be found in dark leafy greens, such as parsley, kale, collard, and Brussels sprouts. So if you don't like Brussels sprouts, find a fun way to cook them because they are very, very good for you.
In the air fryer.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep. Delicious.
Yeah.
I like to air fry them with a little drizzle of honey. Oh. Yep. Recipe time, my friends. I got plenty. Follow me on Instagram. Supplementation 101. There is a ton of opinions out there about supplementation and what you really need to add into your diet supplement wise. At the end of the day, if you have a well-rounded diet containing adequate amounts of vitamins, minerals, macro and micronutrients, then you do not need to add a bunch of different supplements to your daily routine. It has been shown that adding a multivitamin rather than various supplements is more beneficial to the average person, aka non-athlete, us. Okay, so rather than going out and getting vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, biotin, this, that, and the other, finding a good multivitamin is much more beneficial. And then just having a really good diet, getting all the colors in. You will get all the vitamins that you need. My recommendation, as well as what I follow, is taking the vitamin daily. And then depending on what I'm training for, or for example, what I need to have more of in my diet to nourish my baby, then I will add extra supplements. So I have been taking prenatal vitamins probably for the past 10 years.
Yeah, you don't have to be pregnant to take them.
For women, especially, I recommend, it does not matter your age, because it has extra of everything a multivitamin does.
Yeah, you can take up, my naturopath said you should be taking a prenatal always, Lisa,
Yep.
not just when you're trying to get pregnant. And what I will say is that when I stop taking them, I feel so foggy. I feel like so run down. And then I'm like, what is it? And it's because I don't have all of those nutrients that I would say my food choices aren't the best. So my body is depleted in those things. And I don't really like taking the pills. So I do like gummy vitamins. And it's like a handful of fruit snacks. And so it's not like, oh, I'm taking all these pills. Because as a recovering addict, like I try to be really careful of stuff like that. I don't want to be just taking pills every single day. I have this weird thing in my head about it. And so if I do the gummy vitamins, I'm like, fruit snacks. You know?
And trick the brain.
And see, I can't do the gummy or the fruit snacks.
Yeah.
Because then I'm thinking, oh, I'm having sugar,
Yep.
this is too sweet. So, and I'm the one that has my fish oil, vitamin K, vitamin C.
Yeah, everybody does something
like,
different.
I mean, I always remember my parents had the week of a vitamins container. Here's the thing. Ain't nobody got time to do that and meal prep and exercise. I mean, you can, but then that's your entire life.
Yeah.
Biggest bang for your buck, get a multivitamin.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then whatever extra you need. So I need extra vitamin D so that I can give it to him. So I just take a couple extra vitamin D pills.
But I will say, this is something as a stylist I have experienced with vitamin D. I had a client that had a vitamin D deficiency. So the doctor prescribed her 5,000 units of vitamin D a day, which is quite a bit. She had this thought, I'm deficient. So if I take 10,000, I will be less deficient sooner. So what happened is that vitamin D created a calcium buildup around her hair. And then when I put a professional product, a chemical on it, so bleach, calcium hydroperoxide and ammonia create fire, and it melted her hair off at the scalp. So the mindset of like, oh, I'll just take 3 times the amount, your body just flushes it out, but can cause more damage to other things. So when you are trying to supplement in a different way, make sure that it's not an obscene amount, or that you have a mindset of like, oh, I'll just take 10,000 or 15,000 units and I won't be deficient in a week. That's not how the body works. It takes time. So when you are playing around with supplements, just be careful of those things. That was the first time I'd ever experienced like, oh, vitamin D can create a calcium buildup. It sure can. And if we as women need that calcium, and then you're forcing your body into having a buildup, your body is going to react to that. And then now you're going to be supplementing to chase a problem.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Too much of a good thing is a bad thing.
Well, probably even more so here because we don't.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So I wonder if, I don't know if the prescription was also because of that, because of that inefficiency, that if so, is there a way that we can sort of calculate, like do like an individual should
Blood work.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to go
that's
get
what
a
it's
blood
like,
panel.
doctor
Because
level.
the blood panel will tell you where you're deficient at. You know, like for me, iron is a big thing. I bruise really easily. I get tired really easily. Like the wind could blow it, I could have a new bruise. You know, if I bump into something, it's bruising. And so that like little things in your body, you know, if your nails are really brittle and breaking, not because you go get them done, but just in general, or your eyelashes aren't very strong, stuff like that, that will tell you biotin is because biotin is at a very basic cellular level, what creates a lot, it's a protein, essentially for your body. And your body needs that. But that's why when people experience hair loss, they're like, go to biotin, and then you'll get better. And you'll see it doesn't necessarily make the hair more hair grow. It makes the hair, stimulates the hair to grow, and that hair is stronger so that it won't release when your body is under stress, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? There we go. On to food, the meal prep time. When it comes to meal preparation, it's whatever works best for you. There's no right or wrong way, right? Whether that means spending 4 hours on a Sunday, preparing all of your meals for the week, or just pre-planning what you're going to cook for dinner each night. At the end of the day, preparation is key, right? I live by this saying, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. So whatever you got to do to plan, do that. These are just a couple of my favorite recipes. All 3 of these we will be trying later on. Banana pancakes, which are actually just a 3-ingredient pancake. I will eat like 10 of these and I don't feel bad about eating it. It's all natural things and all good. Banana, egg, oats. And if you want to spice it up a little bit, you can even put protein powder, PB2, give it a little flavor. Chocolate protein shake with avocados and almond milk. This one's for you, Sylvia, because it tastes like it should be bad, but it's so good for you. And then avocado toast. So it's literally a piece of toast, but it's an avocado slice. And then whatever topping you want to have on it. And then talking about goal setting. So you have to set the right kind of goals. Your goals need to have a direction and motivation. Are your goals objective or subjective? Having the process, performance, and outcome goals. And the most effective aspect of goal setting is specificity. This is when the goal is objective and can be measured. So not just being like, I want to lose weight. I want to tone up. How much weight do you want to lose? And by when?
And why? Why
Yeah.
is that like if you
What is your reason?
Yeah, so like I ran this, I tell the story a lot when I coach, is that when I was doing some physical goals at the very beginning after I broke my leg, I was like, I want a fit body. And that one is not measurable. Having a fit body is not measurable, right? Hi, Amanda, is not measurable. So I was like, okay, I want to do a fitness competition. Like that's measurable, right? And then I got into they were like, how much weight do you want to weigh? I'm like, I don't care. I just want to do this fitness competition. I want to get there. So it had a deadline. It was very specific. Then I started really diving deep into what was required with everything, like the time, the energy, the money, the having to hire a coach, the outfits, all that. And then when I really started diving deep and getting super specific on what was required, I was like, I ain't doing this. This isn't what I really want. What I really wanted was a healthy lifestyle routine, which also can be measured, but I had it in my mind, I had to do a fitness competition to have a fit body. Does that make sense? Like when she's talking about being super specific. And if you want to weigh, let's say 150 pounds, or you want to make it to 200, why does that number matter? You know, that's why it's important to do the in-body scans and stuff to find out where your body fat percentage, because some people are after 18% body fat. That is going to look very different on each one of us. 18% is going to look different. So you may have it, I want to be 150, 60 pounds, but at that, you still might be 20, 22% body fat. And you think, oh, I hit my goal, but you're really not
Yeah.
hitting the goal. You're hitting one of them.
Yeah. InBody,
Yeah.
has been incredible. I learned so much about like what my body composition
Mhm.
needs. And I think it's so disingenuous, like going to the doctor's office and they just tell you to get on the scale.
Yeah,
But it's like, there's no understanding of what's actually happening until.
and we're bombarded all the time with diet pills, lose weight.
Yeah.
This is how you should look. And so a lot of times the goals that we have aren't our goals.
Yeah.
It's what we think we should want. And if you're not invested in it, if it's not coming internally and it's an external reason, you're not going to be successful.
Or if it's somebody's like, oh, you need to lose weight. Like if a doctor's like, oh yeah, you need to lose weight, but then that doesn't tell you how much,
Yeah.
doesn't tell you why, or educate you behind it. You're just like,
Yep.
oh, I'm fat and I need to lose weight. That actually, like you were saying, Leslie, doesn't make you any farther ahead. Now you're just gonna have negative thoughts around you being fat.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna get really hard to get specific on goal setting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So another acronym that you can use when it comes to goal setting is it's got to be SMART, right? Specific, measurable, action oriented, realistic, and timely. So specific, I want to eat more vegetables. That's not specific. That is specific versus eat healthier. It's pretty vague.
Yeah.
Like what does that mean? Like, do you want to eat less donuts? I keep bringing up donuts, but I'm picking on you.
That's fine.
But you have to
No,
find
I don't
something
want to,
specific,
but I should.
measurable. So then you need to figure out how many vegetables do I want to have per day? Or how many as is going to be my goal. Action oriented, planning meals with vegetables included. It has to be realistic. Goals aren't too easy, but they also can't be too hard. Timely, short-term versus long-term versus a time frame. So these are all things you need to think about when creating your goals in your fitness, in your nutrition, professional, personal life.
Relationships.
Yeah.
This can work for everything. You know, if you want to start a family by a certain time, all right. Specific, I want to have a family by the time I'm 36. Measurable, you know, go into all those different details.
Measurable would be like ovulation tracking, and all of that. Does that make sense? Like making sure that you're actually like committed to having.
Action oriented.
Mhm.
I'm going to download an app to help me track. I'm going to eat healthier to help my ovulation and my cycle. Realistic. I mean, if you're 25 and you're like, I want to do this by 26, not super realistic. So, and timely. Is it a short term, long term? What's the time?
And something too to add is like you can do Smarty. Why? It has to be yours. Like we were just talking about, like the goal has to be yours. It can't be somebody else's, and it can't be for someone else. It has to be for you. I really love that you brought this up. This is how I teach goal setting too. Here in the building is the why has to be yours, like for you and only you only. And you have to ask yourself, why does this matter to me? Because if you, the what and why is crucial, because like I said, I wanted a fit body. And then I was like, oh, I want to do a fitness competition. I'm like, hell no, I ain't that dedicated, you know? But that's why I was like, I need a better routine. The measurable, like I need to sign up for classes, put it in my calendar and go. Action, that's also action oriented. And I need to get my ass out of bed. That's why it's important to be around people that are doing the same things, because they can hold you accountable to that too.
I mean, a good example of a goal not actually being my own goal was in my professional life.
Yeah. Oh.
I became a manager because I thought that's what I wanted to do, but that was someone else's goal for me. And I realized, why did I want to be here? My actual goal was just being in the fitness industry and helping people. My goal was to also make money. And so I thought, oh, being a manager, I can make more money. That's not what I wanted. So I had to reevaluate my goals, what I want. I just want to teach. I want to help people.
Yeah.
Just because you're up at the top doesn't mean that it's actually good for you. Like she's talking about timely, short-term, long-term versus the time frame. Short-term success. Long-term, a lot of work. And then the time frame, she's given up a lot of time from her son and from her husband and out of her personal life to be in a management role that doesn't actually get her any closer to her goals. It actually makes her farther away. So you can see how sometimes we have things in our brain where we're like, oh, I'm going to have this goal. And then you get to there, or you get the accreditation and you're like, this is so unfulfilling because this isn't actually what I want. So the better you can do the step before makes the next step easier. So the more specific you can get, makes it, measuring it makes it a lot easier. And then when you go down to action, or what's required from you to be able to get that. And then the realistic, like, is this realistic? You can't have a baby in 5 months. So I can't be like, oh, by the end of 2023, I'm going to have physically be holding a child. That's unrealistic, you know? But if you're doing everything right, and then you have like, oh, in the next 5 years, if this doesn't happen for me, we're going to move forward to something else. That becomes a lot more realistic and not as stressful on you, because the more stress you put yourself under with goals like this, the less likely you're going to be to achieve them in all areas of your life, in your relationships, in your physicality, even like spirituality. Some people like, oh, I'm going to go to church, I'm going to be saved and healed. No, trauma doesn't work like that. Spirituality doesn't work like that. That's a journey, you know, and it's a lot harder for some goals to be timely. You know what I mean?
I can find that. I don't know if you guys have this to go along this health journey. To like, well, I want to be better for the people that I love and who love me, right? Like sometimes I don't feel like I'm just enough to set my own goals. Like you said, you need to be specific about your own why, but I always feel like my why is connected to everything. How I show up in the world, right? How I interact with people, right? What kind of mother, what kind of wife, like those external things really matter to me just as much as like my own why.
That tells me purpose. You're purpose driven.
Okay. So
Instead of goal driven, you're purpose driven. So what's the purpose for your life? Ask yourself a different kind of question. You can see, like, I coach people through stuff like this all the time, right? Like, what's the vision for your life? What is the purpose for your life? Like, Katie can attest. Katie and I have been our family members. I was like, oh, I'm going to work in the salon and be super successful and everything. And I'm going to have a great career. But I was giving up 70% of my income, 100% of my time, and hated my job every day. My purpose is actually in education. That's why we have this building. Why do you think this is so much more successful? Because I'm also, like you, Leslie, purpose driven. And so figure out what your purpose is and how that translates to different areas of your life. It'll make setting goals a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
That's why I want to do a women's event.
Oh,
I want to do a 3-day event with stuff
I
like
think
this.
that's awesome.
This is amazing.
I think this is the last one. Planning comes back to you. If you fail a plan, you plan to fail. So find a planner that works for you, whether it's a meal plan, food delivery system, or a template, not just with your meals, with your life. I'm not an electronics person. I have to have a hard copy planner. I write down my day-to-day things, write down my workouts. I have a weekly meal planner. We figure out what we're shopping for the next 2 weeks, plan out our meals.
I'm somebody that's opposite, because I'm here a week, gone a week, here a week. If I don't have everything in my Google Calendar, like I literally have in my Google Calendar for today, work in my salon, set up the classroom, the class, and then I have a Zoom call. And then I have like even my weekly planning is in my calendar.
Yeah.
And that gives me, that trains, because I'm all over the place sometimes. It's like, oh, this is my to-do for the day. Even being intentional about messages of gratitude and my CSCs, which are affirmations. I have a morning routine, and that's built into my calendar too. And then you can operate a whole lot higher and better, and be more clear about your goals when you actually create a routine around them. Like, we as humans are actually thrive on structure, but love not being in structure because we like the freedom to do whatever we want. But that's where you get to hide. And that's where you get to like let yourself off easy, is when you don't have that structure. Why do you think the gym is the same time, same place every single day? Provides structure for people to take care of their body.
We are creatures of comfort. And comfort is structure.
Comfort equals bad eating habits, equals, gaining weight, hiding. You're saying, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. That's my favorite thing, is people are like, oh, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow's never going to come, because you're always going to be looking for tomorrow.
Yeah. Staying in that bad relationship, staying at that bad job.
Yeah.
It's with everything in your life.
And I would say part of the planning is you got to tell the truth.
Yeah.
Like, where are you at? Like, it's okay to be like, my eating habits are poor. Like, I had Dick's drive-in at 12:15 last night. Why? Because I got off the plane, I was tired, and that's my routine. Every time I come home and come from the airport, we stop by Dick's drive-in. And so what did I do? I ate a burger and a half and a French fry and a half and a milkshake at 12:15. Well, does it surprise me that this morning I woke up and I was like, you know what I mean? Because when I eat better at night, it's easier for me to wake up in the morning, go to the gym.
Yep.
It's easier for me to work out in the gym
Yeah.
and stuff. And then it's also easier for me to make it throughout the day. I would say something that has worked really well for me for planning is meditation. Because our brains,
Yeah.
there's a reason that we do classes that are only 2 or 3 hours at a time. Because your brain cannot keep up. You actually need a strategic reset. And so by meditating, even if it's 5 minutes, allows your brain to reset for the day, because the longer it goes and it's deprived, the more it's going to gravitate to things that are easy to let yourself off the hook. So if you want to be really good about planning, plan to also reset during the day too. People like to meditate in the morning. That doesn't work for me. I just slept. And at night, I'm just going to sleep. With me, I crash and I used to drink 2 or 3 Starbucks coffees a day. Why is that? So I'd wake up because I'd eat the crap the day before. And then halfway through the day, I'd be crashing. So I'd get another coffee. Then somebody would bring me coffee in the evening and I couldn't sleep. And it's like a root. And I'm like, I don't understand why I'm not losing weight. I don't understand, because I'm drinking 3 coffees a day, which is sugar and milk.
Yeah.
Plus not fueling my body with anything good. And then it's just this vicious cycle. Even though I was on a routine, it wasn't the right routine.
Exactly. I love that he just sleeps through this whole thing.
I know, I love that.
One thing that's really been helping me is after I stands out of the sauna.
Yeah.
Because I've been having problems with just recovery and just like not stretching the way I need to, like just, so I was like, you know what, let me just go to the sauna. I didn't realize that in the sauna it's very quiet.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, I can just start doing my meditation. Complete 180
Mhm.
in terms of how much better my day has gone, and to my sleep. My sleep times have gotten like for the first time last night I got a full 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how, like, I didn't get to pee or any, like, usually that's full.
Yeah.
But it's like, my body just rested.
My husband takes baths every night.
Hmm.
And it took me a long time to realize that was his meditation. Cause I was like, man, how are
Yeah.
you in there for like 30 to 45 minutes? Like, just chilling. Like, what are you doing? The man sleeps like a baby.
Yeah. And
that's his, and he
yeah.
has to do it at night. He can't do it in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Not taking it in the morning. It's after work, after the day is done. Like, Connor's in bed, everything's ready to go.
Yeah.
He goes 30 to 45 minutes, just kind of scrolling through his phone, chillaxing. And that's his wind down time.
And meditation doesn't have to be like legs crossed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what society tells us what it should be. Like,
Mine's running. That's my,
yeah.
no one else. And I can just focus on me and just like, or just not focus on anything. I'm like, cool, I just got to run for 20 minutes. Like,
The brain reset. Yeah. There's an app called Balance that you can download, and that helps with training meditation. Because I'm somebody that I couldn't even keep my eyes closed for 5 minutes before because I have 72 tabs open in my brain 24/7. And so I now 10, 20 minutes in, like I can fall asleep because I've shut my brain off that much.
Yeah.
And if you're also in something, not just in your physical, but if you're in a season of your life of healing trauma and reprogramming your brain and training your brain to live differently, the meditation is crucial because I have something that we call OSG, old self gravity. The gravity, the weight of the shit that you've been holding on is going to pull you down constantly. When you meditate and you break that, you almost are cutting ties to that weight so you can continue to operate. And the more you reprogram and retrain your brain to do this day after day, when hard stuff comes, like family trauma, like triggers, like anything, or even decision making, it's easier to make the right decision than be pulled down by that old self-gravity that is always going to be there and always going to try to pull you down. It's just, if you can reprogram, when you see it, you can be aware of it, and then you can turn, and then that creates that lifestyle change versus just short term.
Yeah.
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 You guys have any other questions about anything we've gone over? So I'm pretty sure.
Yep. All right, Becca, we're gonna come to you. What have you learned? What are you hearing for you and what are you gonna do about it?
Well, I think the best thing for me is making a plan.
Mhm.
That's what Chris and I do on a weekly basis. We figure out what we're having for meals for the week. Usually I plan my breakfast and lunch because he doesn't eat a lot during the day. So I meal plan those for myself, and then we do dinners all together as a family. And then just kind of being more focused on how well-rounded those meals are.
Great insight. Leslie,
Wow.
what are you learning and then what are you gonna do about it?
What am I learning? What am I learning about it? So definitely the biggest takeaway for me today would be macros.
Yeah.
Right. Measuring that accordingly, especially now that I want to break out of the fasting run, because I don't feel like I need it as much. Really being mindful that if I'm going to do early morning workouts, what my body needs definitely matters.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's always been my that definitely, and just with the prenatals.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask about. So I am taking that now. So my purpose obviously is I want to have a child. Hopefully sooner than later. But I took it for that reason until I found out how vitamin dense it was. So my question is there a benefit to, I understand why we take it like in gummy forms and but the reason I was taking it in pill form was because I was worried about the sugar content in a gummy form.
Yeah.
So
It's like 2 grams of sugar in it.
Oh,
Those-
okay,
yeah,
okay.
it's very little.
Yeah. Very minimal.
That's what, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah, and for somebody like me who doesn't eat the sugar, I'd rather.
You know, as long as you're not eating like a handful of them, but then at that point,
You're gonna
it's not even just the sugar that you need to worry about. You're just overabundant.
I bought Hi.
That's my different.
That's
We're gonna make food in a minute. You have a good nap?
All right, Katie, what are you hearing and what are you gonna do about it?
I'm in the current process of retraining myself in general. So like I'm a person that I have a lot of good, like, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to, and I get so overwhelmed in the beginning stages that I kind of freeze up and I'm like, this is overwhelming for me. I'm gonna have to like take a minute and then redo it later. But still having those good, like, this is what I want to do, and then it just keeps getting prolonged and prolonged. Once I do it, then I'm in the structured piece. So with learning some of these pieces today, the macro portion of this was really important for me to know how much, like how many grams of protein I'm supposed to be having, what all that consists of. I think that what I'm taking away right now is kind of how to establish more healthy eating, doing the meal planning, what that's going to look like, getting myself back into a more healthy state physically, like by going out and doing things.
Yeah.
Oh, I've had a lot of life changes in the past year, so I'm retraining myself to do things on my own, go out, do all these things without having somebody to automatically go and do those with. So I'm taking quite a bit away today to start kind of planning in a more healthy way.
Right.
Awesome.
Hey.
Sylvia, what are you learning? What are you gonna do about it?
Meal planning. Because, like Leslie mentioned earlier, with the intermittent fasting, for me, it was so easy to do intermittent fast. It's like, okay, I don't have to eat.
Yeah.
And then I started learning about, well, how to prepare my body for that fast and how to prepare my body once I've broken or do break them. And I can get all that and I'm good with that. Calorie, being calorie deficit, I'm good with that too. And I just realized this last week that, okay, I can be in a calorie deficit and I was able to get my protein in that small window that I did have. So that was exciting. However, it's easy because I can just chicken and a salad, but I'm not actually getting the carbs that I need, like out of like the broccoli or anything like that, because it's like, well, that's too many carbs, but it's a vegetable.
Yeah.
It's not a slice of bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I think
Mhm.
that's the part of the meal planning, to have it
Mhm.
well-rounded and, make sure I'm being okay with the carb percentage.
All about the right type of carbs.
Right, yeah, and see, and that's like what I need to remind the little voice in my head, that it's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
This isn't you being, downing crackers.
Yeah.
This is me having chicken with broccoli, so
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what I'll be definitely retraining myself, that food is good.
Can I just say that you just fascinate me? Seeing you last year to where you are now, I mean, you're just so incredible.
I know I feel the same about Katie, because people haven't seen, like, I've grown up with Katie, and so seeing her at her heaviest, to the weight that she has shed, not only on her body, but this translates into her relationship. She cut some dead weight of some relationships, of intimate relationships, family relationships, friendships, and stuff, because we hold on to things that don't serve us, because it validates the pain that we're in. And she stayed really dedicated of being like, I'm going to cleanse every aspect of my life. And the weight just comes off. The physical weight comes off when you are not so focused on the actual physical weight, if that makes sense.
Punch yourself because you can't actually
Yep.
let go.
Yeah.
I lost 125 pounds
Mhm.
with that year and a half too, with the fasting and working out. But it's kind of like, I could do this.
Yeah.
Like if I'm just
Actually, yeah.
like I can do
Putting
this.
all the work into yourself.
And then I get comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's what I did. But now it's like, I need to keep going.
Yeah. It's a journey.
Does anybody have any questions for Morgan? Any last minute
It's kind of the
questions?
Q&A time.
Yeah.
When can I watch Connor?
Related to the presentation, ma'am?
Oh, sorry. He looks so cute right there.
Very true.
Awesome. Let's try some food.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, Becca, thanks for being online with us today. And this is being
Hopefully you
recorded.
learned lots.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you guys will all get a replay of this, because I did record it. And so I will email you a replay of this. And then Morgan, can we email them a copy of this slideshow? So you guys will also have all the information in the slideshow presentation as well. It's part of when you're financially invested in taking a class, you get to take the class and also get PDFs, worksheets and stuff. So this replay of this and the slideshow will be emailed to you probably by the end of the day.
And I've got a little worksheet for you guys to take home. You can do it right now. Don't worry, Rebecca, I'll give you a copy.
Yay, thank you. I'll be back in the gym this week.
All right, Becca, we'll see you. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you. Bye.
On a side note,